When I made my video on how they caught Luigi Mangione, I correctly identified the fact that the police were not able to track him down based on any kind of facial recognition. The only picture of Luigi's face the police got was a high-angled shot from a CCTV camera in a hostel where Luigi is wearing a full hoodie and is completely covering his hair, ears, neck, and forehead. If you don't know who you're looking for, this frame is not enough to identify anybody. How Luigi was caught was by the police following his profile, his shoes, clothes, backpack, possibly even gait, and relative height. You might think that this is a tedious and laborious task, but it very much isn't anymore. What I'm about to show you is an extremely powerful tool that automates this work beyond anything you could possibly imagine or might have seen in popular media. This is Track. It's made by Veritone, a video analytics and a surveillance AI company. In this demo, Track allows you to search for a target based on a wide range of characteristics, most notably accessories, body, clothes, or footwear, as well as key biometric markers. Track can not only identify this profile in a surveillance camera, but can also follow the subject's movement across different recordings. It does this in a way that leaves little manual labor for the operator. It's fast, efficient, and much more precise than facial recognition alone, which in many street settings like that fateful morning in New York City is completely dysfunctional. Track is used by Veritone's 400 plus customers, many of which of course include federal, state, and local police, but it's also used by universities and commercial customers from media and entertainment. Track can be legally used even in cities and states that ban the use of facial recognition by the police, because Track can follow so many features it doesn't need to rely on faces at all. For Veritone, Track is still in its beginning stage of development. The company promises they are only 1 year away from being able to run it on live video feeds with full automation. That year should be 2026. Track by Veritone is part of a newly emerging industry called whole-body biometrics, surveillance technologies that go beyond anything remotely imagined by sci-fi scenarios and dystopian fantasies. Whole-body biometrics is currently the primary focus of research funded by the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, or IARPA, which is a US government body. IARPA aims to develop the ultimate surveillance tool, one that can combine all key biometric markers into one comprehensive surveillance AI. The research into this is led by a team at the Michigan State University, and the tool they are creating is called FarSight. FarSight combines 3 biometric markers, gait, body, and face, into a traceable profile to be matched to known individuals or to identify new matches. Gait and face recognition are not really new. They are long-known methods of identifying subjects based on their stride and their face, obviously. What is new is FarSight's body recognition, a sort of 3D reconstruction of a subject's body that is effectively undressing them to generate an accurate model of their anatomy. FarSight adds this third marker into the mix because it's relatively simple to thwart facial and gait recognition. To obfuscate your face without raising any suspicions, wearing a simple hoodie and thick shades, for instance, or maybe a scarf will do plenty. Putting a pebble inside your shoe or carrying really heavy weight will change the way you walk significantly enough to fool any gait recognition algorithms. But changing your body type cannot be easily done on the fly. FarSight is using large vision models, specifically CLIP made by OpenAI and Dino V2 from Meta. These are trained on annotated footage of thousands of subjects. FarSight take this a step further. Their LVMs use their own training data of 900,000 videos and photos of 3,000 individuals collected by the US government. Its training and development is put in the most challenging situations, like high angles and high altitudes, where factors like atmospheric turbulence distort surveillance footage that recognition tools then struggle to analyze. FarSight's goal is to overcome these problems to create a long-range aerial surveillance with near-perfect accuracy, the kind that can be mounted on tall watchtowers or even drones flying a kilometer in the skies. The government, of course, is dying to deploy surveillance tech like FarSight, and the big tech will gladly provide a helping hand while securing those government contracts. The most devastating part of this trajectory is that you have been unwittingly feeding the explosive growth of totalitarian surveillance by serving it your precious personal data on a silver platter. Meta is one of the core companies providing the US government with multiple advanced surveillance tools that were developed off of initially commercial products. Think of you using Instagram, Facebook, the Messenger, WhatsApp, Meta AI. Zuckerberg has already secured a partnership with the US Army, where they're selling commercial artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality tools repurposed for military uses. You should also probably know this: Meta's chief technology officer is a sworn US Army Reserve lieutenant colonel. It might come relevant in the future. All the data in your social media posts, especially your photos, videos, and unencrypted voice chats, have inadvertently enabled exactly such whole biometric recognition that will now be used to surveil every single one of your activities, even outside of the digital cyberspace, just in case you offend the president or go against the official narrative of the US foreign policy. The Department of Homeland Security, which houses both the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Patrol, has naturally expressed deep interest in these biometric recognition tools. It's relevant to know that border agents can use surveillance tech without a warrant in any part of the country within 200 miles of the border, even if you are a citizen, which is where 2/3 of the population live. And it's probably not a coincidence that multiple immigration agents were caught wearing Meta's Ray-Ban smart glasses during immigration raids. You know, Chinese police officers have been using biometric recognition glasses for years, and we've been laughing at that totalitarianism they have over there. And now it's all coming here. It's probably a matter of months, if not weeks, before all of that is adopted here, if it isn't already. The government itself is using your social media to train and build their surveillance models. Tools like BabelX or SocialNet are used by the government to aggregate data from hundreds of sources and sift through subjects for increased surveillance. The government doesn't just stop at the social media. They are also purchasing information from large data brokers like Thomson Reuters and LexisNexis. Now they store up to 10,000 data points on every single individual in that database. The data include obvious identifiers like people's names and addresses, but also deeply personal information such as their income, where they shop, what they do for leisure, their sexual history, or even emotional profile. Why would government want to know all of that information on every single person living in the country? Well, you might have to answer that question yourself, or maybe the future will tell you. The US has been on a trajectory of turning into a totalitarian surveillance state at least since the 9/11 attacks, but has been speedrunning its course since 2025. It's no longer about passively collecting everybody's information in bulk. Now, it's about using all of that information. The biggest problem is that the population has been so sufficiently polarized and brainwashed by simulated realities on social media that it is not ready to mount any kind of opposition to the rising totalitarianism in the United States, or anywhere else for the matter, wherever you're watching this from. This is coming to your country for sure. When the surveillance state is used for a political cause of the currently winning team, the supporters of that team will cheer and demand more, until they lose and that same technology is then used against them, by which point that same surveillance state will be used and demanded for by the new winning team, and the goalpost will always keep moving further and further. The current totalitarian surveillance trend started with the crackdown on violent criminal illegal immigrants, then the goalpost moved to include all illegal immigrants, then to legal immigrants that criticize the current administration. Until 4 years pass, new elections will declare a new winner, and the surveillance will continue with a different flavoring. And so on until one day, within our generation, someone will inherit this absolute all-seeing power and they will never give it up. But few will notice before it's too late, because they're too distracted by fake culture war distractions and no longer recognize the real problems. That the rising authoritarianism is slowly but surely encroaching on our rights one by one, but you've been duped to be too busy focusing on hating your fellow men. The solution is simple but hard. Stop living in a simulated reality and stop feeding the Leviathan with your data. The social media is rotting your brain. It is creating a filter bubble around your ego to give your outrage a boost of artificial relevance. But it's not real. Social media were designed to make you passively consume on and on without giving it a second thought. It's a content casino. Each swipe up is going to give you something new, but you will not know what it is until you get it. You're hooked, chasing that dopamine hit until you're too exhausted to continue, by which point you're too exhausted to do anything else either, other than go to sleep so that you can wake up and go to work so that you can consume even more. You should be outraged that this is how you are being manipulated by algorithmic bubbles of simulated reality. But you're not. Because your outrage is misdirected by the fake news, the hoaxes, the disinformation on social media at your fellow men, rather than at the architects of your submission. Not only you will not be outraged, you will proactively fight to defend them as long as they are on your currently winning culture war team. If you still want to use social media, at least use federated ones, like Mastodon, Lemmy, or Blue Sky. Or if you want to watch YouTube, use NewPipe. The purpose of this is to free yourself from the manipulative algorithms that prey on psychological traits that keep you consuming without purpose. Be intentional about the content you consume on the internet. Don't get your news from social media. Get them from the actual newspapers. Read the press. It's not perfect, but the so-called new media has somehow sank the bar of credibility far lower than anything else that came before. Yes, I'm technically new media, but I'm not asking you to trust me. I provide references to the most credible news outlets and academic research on the planet. You'll find very few channels that do this as vigilantly as I do. I personally read the Financial Times because the business press is most aligned with getting the facts right for the investor class to leverage. By the way, you can legally read almost any article without a paywall on Archive Today or the Wayback Machine, and it's also private. Speaking of privacy, you need to stop voluntarily submitting your whole existence to the corporate tech. Whole body biometrics is a clear example of how your data is used to build tools that will be used against you. Many people, unfortunately, will feel peer pressured by the networking effect of the big tech, but you have to be the change this world needs. You have to start using Signal and start getting people around you to use it with you. You should stop using the iPhone and Android and use Graphene OS with privacy apps. There is a privacy alternative to pretty much every big tech product out there. I have many de-googling and privacy videos that I'll link here and you should absolutely follow. It's too late for excuses. We don't have time to waste on obedience or apathy.